do a burnout.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Lawson with Custom Offsets. I'm here with Dustin, and in today's video, we're gonna be unboxing some Banks performance parts. You just went to Banks.
I did just go to Banks. I just met with Jay over at Banks in California like 4 days ago, 5 days ago. It wasn't that long ago. So super exciting. We got to see a bunch of stuff, and we're also walking through there and just, there's a random Ford GT40 chilling, so that was super awesome.
What?
Yeah, Gil Banks has a GT40.
Oh my god.
And it's dope.
I haven't seen this video yet. I need to go see this video. So do you
Check
guys.
it out, Custom Offsets YouTube, dog.
Go check it out. All right, in today's video, we are gonna be unboxing some Banks performance parts. This is actually going on our new company build. RIP CO2, we don't need you anymore. There's a new sheriff.
Hey,
John.
damn, don't be like that.
Sorry.
All right, Lawson, what do we got here?
All right, we've got an intake.
All right.
Look at the
Here we go.
size of that thing.
Yeah, so this is the Banks Ram Air intake. Super cool things about this thing. Obviously, it's a cold air intake, so it's gonna get you much cleaner, cooler air than your factory intake. It's also gonna flow a ton more than your factory intake is. And it's not just like a statement like, oh, it'll flow more. Banks actually puts this to the test. So we have some really cool footage when we were out there. They were showing us that they'll take factory intakes and put them on a flow bench and measure the airflow through it, and then engineer theirs and measure the airflow. And if it's not better, they won't market it. So
Technology, baby.
super cool stuff. I mean, in terms of the filter, they have the biggest filter on the market. It's literally for size reference. Turn your head. It's literally the size of his head. They're freaking massive.
Yeah, that's like 3 times the size of my truck's intake.
Yeah, is big, and it breathes a lot of air. So
We got a little box here.
what is it? Does it say?
Doesn't say.
Oh, these go over there too.
Just says some warning stuff.
What do you got?
I don't know. I thought it would say.
Oh my gosh, what do you mean you don't know?
Doesn't say. It just says Banks.
It says on the back.
It doesn't say
Yes,
on the
it does.
back.
It says right there.
It does not say.
It's a Derringer tuner.
Oh yeah, it's a Derringer tuner.
And this is gonna be your
Whatever.
pedal monster. So this is all of the actual engine electronics. So go ahead and open those guys up.
All right.
So what you're looking at here is the Banks Derringer tuner. So that's gonna be an inline tuner, right? It's gonna sit along your engine factory harness, and it's gonna basically give you added power. The cool thing about Banks is that all of their products are 50 state legal and they're CARB compliant. So every single one of those is gonna have this little silver sticker that says that Banks actually went to California, the state of California, measured emissions out of all their stuff and said, hey, these are legal products. We can still manufacture these and sell these in all 50 states. So you can dump a tuner on your truck, gain some more power, and still be super safe, obviously, and also within federal regulations. The other thing that's in here is going to be the iDash Data Monster. So that's this cute little guy right here. I have a ton of experience with these. These are what I'm personally running in the Duramax. This little gauge face, and basically it's gonna sit in this cool little single pod kit that they give you, which is just a suction cup mount for it, but it's gonna read out all your engine parameters. So it's gonna read out anything that you're reading on the ECU in terms of coolant temperature, oil temperature, stuff like that. Gonna make sure that you stay safe. And also this is how you adjust your tune. So really cool system, all self-contained, super awesome. So
Pedal monster here.
you know what that is?
Nope.
Even better. So on top of all of this, right, we've gained some horsepower, or will gain some horsepower with the Derringer. We'll be able to monitor our key PIDs, right, parameters with that, that Data Monster. And then the Pedal Monster is actually a pedal modifier. So what that is it's gonna give you a couple different settings that you can bump it up, and it's gonna alter how your pedal feels, right, as you stand on it. So in max power setting, you can plant it and it's gonna go right to full throttle almost immediately, so it gets pretty rowdy. Something really unique about the Pedal Monster that not a lot of other guys on the market have is that it's super safe. So unlike some of the competitors out there, if it fails, it's gonna default back to stock, so it's not just gonna leave you with no throttle input, which is a little bit scary because not so much on the truck side, but there have been car examples where that's happened.
Yeah.
Their pedal modifiers have just failed and then they just stuck in the middle of a stoplight.
Dang.
A little scary, so.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, we're gonna crank that all the way up on this truck because we like to party.
Burnouts for days, baby.
Do you even know what this is?
I have one of those. Why
All
are
right.
you using that knife backwards? Did you guys see that?
Cuz
He opened it with the back
That's
side of
fine.
the knife. Oh my God, all right.
that's how you cut it with your skull knife, okay? Yeah.
So cool, so this is the one and only Ram Air diff cover. I like you just holding it up under there.
So Banks diff covers are like the most sought after diff covers.
Yeah, they are.
Taylor's got one over there.
They are the ones. That's what I went with on the Duramax. For those of you guys that have followed Banks for any amount of time, you know that there was a whole video series where Gail actually built plastic diff covers, and he was up under there with a flashlight, and he actually like drove the truck. Someone was in the truck on the lift running it at like 30 miles an hour, so you could see what the fluid actually does in there. And what he found is that flat back diff covers tend to wear the oil down more because the ring gear in there is throwing it against the flat back, right? It's just not conducive to good gear lubing, I guess is the right word, you know. So he built these super cool covers, but yeah, they're the cover in the market.
They're sick, yeah.
I mean, they're awesome. This one, of course, is black with the milled Banks logo on it. So these are gonna feature those really big, deep cooling fins that are gonna help keep that diff cool. There's also pockets in here that actually scoop the air up and run it through the fins, hence the Ram Air diff cover thing, so.
All right, this, obviously we saved big box for last, always. This is gonna be your guys' exhaust. Oh my gosh, and of course, cause it's for a Super Duty, so the exhaust is massive.
Just pull one of those pipes. I don't know that we need to pull them all out, but pull one of those pipes out.
Here we go. This is the exhaust.
Yeah, so that's gonna be
5-inch.
the Banks 5-inch monster exhaust. It's a DPF back system, so it retains the factory diesel particulate filter and all the emissions stuff, right? Again, 50 state, carb compliant, legal, all that good stuff. Super cool thing about these is they make these all in-house. So like, again, when we were walking through Banks the other day, they literally just have racks of tubing and right next to these big mandrel benders, and they just beep, 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 do a little tick, tick, tick on the old tack welds and call it a day, you know? So super cool stuff. It's gonna help open up that exhaust by quite a bit. Really pairs well with the intake and the tune, because obviously more air in, more power, more fuel, better exhaust exit. So I believe it's like 82%. This will flow 82% better than stock, which should be pretty cool. I think the only other thing to touch base on here with Banks stuff and why we went Banks versus some of the other guys is not only do they, you know, have some really good research into their products, and those guys obviously make most of their stuff stateside, but because they make their stuff right over in California, pretty much all this was in stock. We ordered this last week and it showed up today. So really cool stuff. Great guys over there, ton of engineering behind their products, and of course having it in inventory helps a ton. So it's enough out of me. Let's get Banger started.
All right. It's the next day.
Hey guys, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Just like that, it's tomorrow. So we got the exhaust laid out here. It's actually very few pieces because it's DPF back, so we're gonna get that put on. The rear diff cover is up on the bench along with the tuner and the gauge and everything. So we're gonna do the exhaust and the rear diff cover here real quick. And it is a little bit later in the day again until we got started, so hopefully we'll have time to do everything today, but I am going to get into it. All right, so it didn't take long for this super easy part of this install to go completely to and us royally. This truck is 3 years old. It's 2018, it's 2021, and just living in the rust belt, this is what we deal with. So all three of these pressed in studs off of the DPF snapped off when we tried to take the exhaust off. And you can see, John can get a close up there, just how much is missing compared to how much bolt was there. So there's about half of that bolt was left holding that in there. So now we need to figure out how to get those studs out, which are rusted in there tight. Easiest way is going to be to blow them out with a torch, except it's Friday afternoon and our tanks need to be refilled, which was something that, you know, was going to be done Monday. So we're just going to leave this and move on to something else. Holy shit. Everything is stock, John. Everything. Somebody's silicone the f***er shut. Wait till I get it off and see how crusty it is.
What does it taste like? Oh no!
All right guys, so somehow I got conned into doing this driving review. So if you remember, we've got the Banks cold air intake, ram air intake, the Banks DPF back 5-inch exhaust, the Banks pedal monster, the Banks Derringer tuner, and the Banks I-1.8 up here. There are some setup things that usually you would need to do to get everything to work together, but this stuff is so smart that because I hooked it all up at once, the tuner is actually all calibrated, everything is ready to go on the I-dash. It knows what we're in. So we're going to take it for a little drive in stock mode and then turn it up a little bit and see if we can see a difference. We've got it on the stock tune. Just driving here, you can, exhaust isn't loud. You really can't hear the intake. You can definitely hear the turbo. We don't have the radio on. The pedal monster, you can definitely feel the throttle response is a lot quicker than it normally would be. And by a lot quicker, I mean we're talking milliseconds, obviously, but you can feel it to where the truck doesn't hesitate when you get into the throttle. It downshifts and it goes. And that's just on a stock tune. So this truck's got a decent amount of horsepower as it is stock. So not surprising. So this wakes it up a little bit. We'll do a little pull here once we get into Mexico, and then we'll turn up the tune and see what it does. So to turn up the tune, it's actually very simple. Once the Derringer is connected to the I-dash here, you just reach over, you hit the up arrow, level 2, level 3.
You can hear it get louder.
Yeah, and you can hear the exhaust pitch. It actually revs a little bit every time you tune it into something higher. So now we're in level 3, and we will see how she takes it. That's noticeable. Now, the instructions also said, Banks does do a disclaimer, the shifts are going to be a little soft until it learns the transmission. And there is a whole sequence you can do of learning the transmission. It's basically driving it around stock for a long time. So we're kind of jumping ahead a few steps here just to see how it performs. So the shifts are a little bit softer, but that was pretty impressive for a base out of the box tune. Still, the intake's quiet, exhaust is still quiet. So driving, you're not going to notice any of those mods, which I think is kind of a thing Banks does. It's all on the back end as far as their research goes. They don't want the truck to be noticeably louder or anything. They just want it to perform better, and I think they've achieved that. So we're going to try level 6 here. I can feel the transmission holding gears a little bit longer too as we get higher into the tunes. Definitely feels like more power. Overall, I'd say it's definitely worth it. The Tune 3 seems to be a really nice driving tune, which they said it would be. And then Tune 6 gives you some performance. I wouldn't say it's go out to the drag strip and lay money down performance, but it definitely wakes up a truck without having to do a bunch of emissions deleting stuff. So highway speeds, no drone. You can hear the exhaust a little bit. Again, we have the radio off, so the cab's gonna be a lot quieter than normally. But overall, the truck it performs without sounding like it's performing, which is what you want with the new emissions rules these days.
My God.
It'll do a burnout. Well, something must be on fire over there. That's weird. All right, guys, so there it is. A little emissions compliant performance courtesy of Banks Power. Go out and get yourself some for your truck, customoffsets.com under the performance tab. Peace.